What's up, guys? Welcome to the first part of the rebuild series on my 2015 GSXR 750. First thing we gotta do is drain the gas. It's been sitting in here for probably a month or so we're gonna go ahead and drain the gas. We're gonna be switching out the tank today. So let's check that out first. So I went on eBay. I was originally going to have my OEM tank repaired because it's got little scratches. You know, obviously this is messed up. I was going to have it repaired and then repainted. But the price, I found one on eBay in really good condition for practically the same price as I would have had to pay to repair that one. So here it is, right here. Here it is. This one's actually off of a 2017 GSXR 750, which is the exact bike that Heather has. If you're new to the channel, Heather's my wife. She's filming this for me. So this is it. It's off of a 2017 GSXR 750. It'll fit mine exactly the same. So you can check it out over here real quick. The only thing I found on it was right here. This is the only mark. I haven't even tried to clean it yet. But a tank protector is going to go there anyway. So I'm not really that worried about it. But all in all, it's in really good condition. And I picked it up for under 400 bucks. So can't beat that. This is a budget rebuild. So we're getting to it. So let's turn the tank and then we'll get to the next step. All right, so we got the gas siphoning out right now. We're probably looking at about 4 gallons in there. I think the bike holds about 4.5. It wasn't completely full, so I'm gonna say roughly 4 gallons. If I can get close to 4 gallons out, I'll feel good that most of the gas is out of the tank. All right, next step, we're gonna go ahead and take the seat off. Super easy. Literally 2 bolts holding this seat on. 1 and 2. So now the seat's off. We'll set that on your bike for safekeeping. And next step, we got 2 bolts right here that hold the tank down in the front. We'll go ahead and take those out. I believe these are all 5s. Got a washer on there with it. So the next step we're gonna do is, we got 1 bolt right here, which holds this hinge style on the 750s and 600s. So it hinges the tank up like that. I'm gonna leave that bolt in right now just because I wanna keep it in place. I'm gonna go ahead and take off the fuel cap. So we got 5 bolts that are holding the fuel cap on. So there's your fuel cap right there. That's all that is. Simple enough, right? All right, so we're gonna go ahead and lock this down in place. Then we're gonna put our 3 main bolts, which are here, here, and here. So I'm just gonna kind of let them work their way into where they want to sit.
Which is not happening.
Sometimes they're finicky. They just have to be lined up. So that one's in. Never force. Just let them find their way in. So now that we have all 3 of our main bolts in, we can go ahead and get that nice and snug. And then we got our last 2 bolts, which are a little bit shorter and like a medium-sized bolt, which are gonna go right here and right here. If you're taking apart a tank and you don't have a spare tank sitting around, it's probably best to look at those first before you take them off. Luckily, in my situation, I have Heather's bike over here, which I can look at. for reference. And all right, so we got our fuel tank cap installed. Good to go. So we're gonna go ahead and remove the tank by pulling this pin right here, which is like the hinge bolt. Throw that over here for later. Then we're gonna flip the tank over, hopefully. I've only done this one other time and it was on a cruiser, so kind of learning as we go here. So we got a fuel pump here that we're gonna have to remove, and then we're gonna have to install it on the new bike, or I'm sorry, on the new tank. So we're just gonna have to unplug a couple things, and then we're gonna have to disconnect the actual fuel pump, and then we will move that to the new tank. And the rest of this I could probably do by hand. So we have recalculated, and now we have the tank off, completely unplugged, and we are going to remove this fuel pump from overhead. And look at that. So this right here, you know what that is?
No.
No idea?
Oh, to tell where your gas level's at.
Yeah.
So it can tell you if you're blinking.
Yes, exactly. That's like your fuel level
Okay.
gauge. So in reality, this is upside down. So this is floating.
Yeah.
And then as your gas goes down, probably once it hits that point, you have your gallon left, and then your little blinky comes on. So, yeah. That's why it was a little bit of a pain to get out. So now we are going to, first we got to remove this O-ring off of my bike because the new tank doesn't have one. So we will get in here, pop that O-ring out, and we'll switch it over to this one. Perfect. And then we will go ahead and put the fuel pump back in. Same way it came out, which was...
This goes in first.
Yes.
And
Let me get a
paper towel.
paper towel. A little bit of fuel came out. Alright, so put the fuel dinghy back in there. Slide that back on, and then bam, that's it. Now, we gotta get our bolts right here. We'll go ahead and start putting these back in. Never over torque, just kind of hand tighten on those, a little snug, and then we're going to, basically we're just going to do the reverse process, put it back on the bike, just like that one came off. But a few things are, my bike has this piece right here, this little rubber piece, and I believe Heather just replaced the washers. You did?
Yes.
Yes. So this one didn't have those, and it was actually missing this, so obviously I'm taking it off of mine. And I'm going to, it's kind of just like a rubber little grommet that kind of keeps it from having too much movement. Mine has lasted on mine forever, and this one was missing it, so no biggie though. So we can take the best of both worlds and make one awesome bike. So while I'm in here, I'm just gonna go ahead and clean this just a little bit. All right, so fuel pump is reinstalled on the new tank. So we are going to go ahead and put it back on its new bike. New old bike. So it's going to sit down in there, but for the time being, I've got to figure out it's gonna sit right in here. But for the time being, I gotta put that back. I want to kind of protect the tank from getting scratched. Alright, so before we get back to reinstalling it, we gotta plug back in a couple things. So this will be hard. Can you hold it right there? Mm-hmm. Alright. So for some reason, the overflow tubes came loose. Not really a big deal, but we'll go ahead and plug this back in first. Let's see, right here. And then we got to plug this right here in. If you don't plug this in, your bike's not going to get any gas.
That is important.
That is very important. So get that all the way on there, and then this snaps back into place, making sure it cannot come loose. And since those did fall off, I'm just going to go ahead and run a quick little zip tie on here. So these are supposed to stay on there, but you know, my bike 30,000 miles and lots of wheelies later, they had fallen off. And I don't think my tank's ever been like actually worked on. So I think we're good right there. So we should be able to put this back in position. How does that look?
Wow. Look at that nice iridescence.
Yeah, it just needs a little cleaning, that's all.
Looks a little bit like this beauty.
It does. Alright, so we got Alright, so I feel like before we bolt this back in place, we gotta do a test run. Got the keys.
Do you have 100% confidence that you reinstalled everything like you should have?
I believe so. We're gonna find out.
That was kind of fast.
It's kind of fast, but I move fast, Deb.
Sometimes.
We only need like a gallon to test it. That should be more than enough right there. So, oh yeah, I can hear it. It's got about a gallon, 3/4 of a gallon. So how confident are we that we have just reinstalled this correctly? Scale of 1 to 10. How confident do you feel?
I'm an 8.
You're an 8?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a 9.9.
Okay.
0.1%, or yeah, 0.1. I will have to give someone a call. But 2 things I want to check first before we start it.
Oh yeah, he's real quick, guys.
2 things I want to check
He
first.
moves real fast.
I want to check down here and make sure, because there's like over a gallon of gas in here. I just want to feel around, make sure that O-ring seated properly, make sure there's nothing, no leaking here, and I do not feel anything wet whatsoever. So let's go ahead and start her up.
Okay, that was one thing you wanted to check. What was number 2?
That it starts though.
Okay.
I just heard the fuel pump kick in, so. I need gas. About 4 gallons in there. And
one more check.
you can never be too safe. So.
Or too quick.
There it is. Perfect. So, honestly, like, that wasn't that hard at all. If you guys made it this far through the video, thank you for watching. Obviously, these videos are going to be sponsored by Ockmar Fairings. If you want to check out the fairings right here for this total rebuild of the GSXR 750. God, it's going to look good. So that pretty much wraps it up. We're just gonna have to go ahead and put the seat back on, install that, put the bolts back on. It'll only take a few minutes to do that stuff, but you guys see the basics of changing it out. Very simple. These things are things that you can do on your own if you just take your time and be patient. So thanks for watching, guys. Peace, ride safe, and what are you doing with that? There she is. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace and ride safe.